It's time to go over our top 10 wide receivers for week 12. We're getting right here into the video. Coming in here at number 10, we're going Mike Evans. This is a wide receiver that missed some time. Now he's coming back and he's going to be the man. There's no Chris Godwin right there. And Kate Otten was over there kind of holding down the show at this point. Now it's all going to be the Mike Evans show, and he should be getting a lot of love. This week they're taking on a Giants defense ranks 14th against opposing wide receivers. I'm giving you the Bengal guarantee right now that he will get a touchdown this week. There is no doubt in my mind. Baker Mayfield is pretty much tired of just throwing it to Kate Otten all the time. Mike Evans is going to be the man for this offense. He's going to get a lot of targets, and that means he's going to hit a deep stride touchdown. I can go ahead and lock and load that right now for me. I think Baker Mayfield is going to link up with this guy and have a nice performance fantasy football wise. Baker Mayfield is able to throw 300 yards up passing without Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. So now that he gets one of his main guys back in Mike Evans, I'm for sure lock and loaded for a touchdown from Mike Evans. Love him for week 12. I'm here at number 9. We're going DK Metcalf. Now, this is a wide receiver, is truly the 1A alpha dog for this offense. And you see Geno Smith really starting to look at a lot of wide receivers here, whether it's Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett, but he's not forgetting about DK Metcalf. There's not a lot of corners in the league that can go, toe for toe with the big body DK Metcalf. Is a very physical wide receiver. But this week they're taking on a Cardinals defense ranked 15th against opposing wide receivers. He could dominate the Cardinals defense this week. This is a nice divisional matchup, always a nice hard-nosed type of matchup, and DK Metcalf normally flourishes in these type of matchups. So look for him to get out to an early lead, really put up a lot of fantasy points. I had to put him in here in my top 10 for week 12. We're moving right along here at number 8. We're going George Pickens. This is a guy that loves to catch those deep balls, right? And I think that this is now when you're going to start seeing a boom type of plays from George Pickens. I think, Russell Wilson starting to get more comfortable with them. They're starting to put up a lot of plays, and I'm telling you, George Pickens could have himself a nice week this week. This week they are taking on a Browns defense ranked 29th against opposing wide receivers, looking to always make that highlight big play, right? We just saw last week the Saints was able to take care of business against the Browns, and even somebody like Martavis, MVS, right? Valdez Scantling, right? He's out there. He had a bomb against these guys. If he can do it, if MVS can catch a bomb, George Pickens can do it. So I think now that Russell Wilson's got a lot more confidence, I think that you're going to start seeing George Pickens really truly be the guy, the man that I was telling you guys early on in the season, before the season even started, that George Pickens could be a nice sleeper wide receiver, and boy, is he going to be living up to that hype. Coming down to the stretch, leading you into your fantasy football playoffs, I like George Pickens not only for the rest of the year, but definitely here in week 12. Move right along here at number 7. We're going Tyreek Hill. This is a wide receiver that really we're used to him having a lot more boom games than what he's having. It's been a really of a down year with Tua going down with the concussion. Ever since Tua got back, you're really not seeing those really crazy games as of yet. This week, I'm hoping to see a little bit more of the old Tyreek Hill, right? I'm ready to see, him back into my top 3 type of wide receivers where I can consistently say, hey, look, this is going to be the guy this week. But they are taking on this week a Patriots defense that ranks 22nd against opposing wide receivers. And like I was saying, can we have a normal Tyreek Hill type of game this week? That's what I want to see. I'm ready for him to break out of his shell and be the man. Tua needs to just start slinging the ball down the field. Tyreek is still the fastest man in the NFL, and he needs to be able to prove that. Just let him go on these go routes. Let him score some big time touchdowns. Give him over 200 yards receiving. I just want to see an old Tyreek Hill game. I'm hoping week 12 brings the biscuits, right? So move right along here at number 6. We're going Nico Collins, right? So he had a big touchdown called back last week. His numbers could have been a lot better than what they are now. But look, he hasn't lost anything, right? For stride, he is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, and CJ Stroud looks at him to be the man for this offense, the 1A wide receiver for this offense. Without Stephon Diggs there, it's a lot of Nico Collins, right? He wants to be able to be the man and to be able to provide numbers for you for fantasy football too. So coming here this week in week 12, they're going against a Titans defense that ranks 4th against opposing wide receivers, right? Can Collins have an electric game? They're going against a good secondary that's able to kind of compete. They've been doing it all year long, being able to hold a lot of these wide receivers in check. So Collins, he's unable to go down deep. Well, maybe he's might going to be able to catch a couple of those screen passes. Last week you saw him catch a little 1-yard hitch route, or I think it was behind the line of scrimmage, and he took it up to the house, and it ended up coming back. I think it was a holding penalty on one of the linemen or something like that that called the whole thing back. So I think he can do a lot of things other than just go out wide. So I think he's going to be able to have quite a few fantasy points, even though he's going against a secondary that's pretty good against the wide receiver position. I think they're still going to be good enough to have a solid fantasy football outing. I like myself some Nico Collins here in week 12. Move right along here into my top 5. At number 5, we're going Terry McLaurin, right? This is a wide receiver that's really gelling nicely with Jaden Daniels, and there's going to be some weeks that you see that's not amazing for Terry McLaurin, but more times than not, Terry McLaurin's starting catching these deep balls, and he's being able to put up some nice yardage with Jaden Daniels. This week, they are taking on a Cowboys defense ranks 18th against opposing wide receivers. He's just seeing a bunch of, big plays right now from Terry McLaurin. It's not really what you're used to seeing, but then again, he's played with a lot of cockadoodle at the quarterback position. Now he's got a good quarterback in Jaden Daniels, and I'm telling you, this could be really good for Terry McLaurin, even moving forward. Even if you have him in Dynasty, you got to be excited to have a wide receiver like Terry McLaurin finally having a quarterback in Jaden Daniels. So I'm liking what I'm seeing out of this combination. I think this week there's a good opportunity for Terry McLaurin to go out there and put up some solid fantasy numbers for you. Jaden Daniels continues to look towards Terry McLaurin. He's going to have a solid week this week in week 12. So we're going to move right along here. At number 4, I'm going Puka Nacua, and he's going to be in a nice matchup. Almost going to be like a back and forth matchup. They're going to need Puka Nacua to come out hot and score a lot of fantasy points for you to even have a chance in this game. They're taking on the Eagles defense that ranks 6th against opposing wide receivers, putting up more, consistent numbers than Cooper Kupp at the moment, right? So I think Puka Nacua, you can count on. You can count on him being good. He does a lot of things and not just catch the football. Sometimes he has jet sweeps. Sometimes he catches a little 1-yard hitch routes. He does, screen passes, all types of things he's able to do. Even come underneath. He does so much for Matthew Stafford in fantasy football. He's able to give you a lot of points in a lot of different ways. And against the Eagles, they're going to have to get creative, right? The Eagles are going to come out blazing. They're going to be able to score a lot of points. And Matthew Stafford, we all know he can throw up 300 yards pass like anybody else. And Puka Nacua is usually one of the biggest yardage guys for Matthew Stafford. This week in week 12, taking on that Eagles team, like I said, they're going to need Puka quite a bit if they even want to make this competitive. I think that they will. I think it'll be a good game, and it might be an explosion game as far as fantasy football points goes on both sides. I mean, you're talking to Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley, and then Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. There's a lot of pieces on both sides that could get a lot of fantasy production. I can't wait to see this game. I think you're going to have a lot of fireworks here in week 12. So move right along here at number 3. We're going to the other side of the coin here in AJ Brown. This is a guy that I think is going to be able to put up a lot of yardage. I don't think there's anybody really on the Rams that's going to compete much with AJ Brown at this point. Like I said, they are taking on that Rams defense, but they rank 23rd against opposing wide receivers. He should really have his way against this secondary. Like I said, there's not really any matchup that I'm worried about that he's going to be on that's going to even kind of slow him down at this point. So I think he's going to get a lot of yards. I think Saquon Barkley's going to have a big game. They're going to be putting up a lot of points. And like I was just mentioning, if Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are able to put up some numbers and keep this game relatively close, AJ Brown could have a crazy game. Coming here as a top 3 wide receiver into my rankings, I think is well justified. Love myself some AJ Brown here in week 12. Move right along here at number 2, we're going Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? This is one of those wide receivers that has such a high floor. He loves the dink and dunk play. He's starting to get some touchdowns this season as well, which I'm liking to see. I think Jameson Williams has taken a lot of the firepower away from this offense, right? That's why you see Sam Laporta's numbers down. And you got 2 workhorses in the backfield, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the man. He is the guy, the go-to guy that Jared Goff really looks for and scores a lot of fantasy points for you. This week they are taking on a Colts defense that ranks 19th against opposing wide receivers, right? It's great PPR opportunities this week. I think there's going to be a lot of dink and dunk opportunities this week. And if with Anthony Richardson playing even better, this could be a really good matchup, a matchup that I'm actually looking forward to. I think could be pretty relatively good. So I like what I see from Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's going to continue to give you solid numbers. Easily number 2 for me. Put the guy into your lineup here in week 12. And that moves right along to the number 1 guy this week. I'm going Justin Jefferson, right? He is just absolutely bananas. Doesn't matter what team he's going against. It doesn't matter what type of defense he's going against. He's destroying everybody, and Sam Darnold is finding him. But this week he is taking on a Bears defense. They do rank 2nd second against opposing wide receivers, but he's still an alpha dog on the field each and every week. It doesn't matter who he plays. I don't care that he's going against the Bears. They're actually not as good here lately as they were to begin the season, so their ranking really doesn't scare me much. And then again, you got Justin Jefferson, who's pretty much matchup proof at this point. He can score points with the best of them, so I love myself some Justin Jefferson. Easily number one for me here in week 12. But as my top 10 wide receivers for week 12, guys, make sure you guys hit a like button, hit a subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Excuse me, leave a comment down below, right? If there's anybody in the top 10 that I didn't put in there, make sure you put them down there for me. I'm curious to see if there's anybody else that you guys would put in y'all's top 10. Let's have a conversation down below. Guys, we're putting out so many videos each and every week that help you set the best lineup possible, right? We want you to ultimately win a championship. That's what we do here at the Bayou Bengal Fantasy Network. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.